Beyond Reach podcast gives the voice to brands, athletes, organizations in the outdoor space industry. Through open conversation, you're going to discover their stories, their successes and challenges, but also their vision. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the Beyond Reach podcast, where we dive deep into the world of sports and the great outdoors. In a world where the mind can be your greatest ally or your toughest opponent, one truth stands out. If you can change your mind, you can change your life. This couldn't be truer when it comes to mental training. Whether you're an athlete, a coach, a team, or part of a corporation, mental preparedness can be the difference between success and failure. In today's episode, we'll dive into the power of mindset coaching and explore the journey of an individual who knows firsthand the impact of mental strength. With over 30 years in the sports industry, he's seen it all. The highs of being a first-round NHL pick, playing as a defenseman for the Chicago Blackhawks and the Edmonton Oilers, and the challenges of a career-ending injury that tested his resilience. From the ice to mindset coach, his experience has shaped his mission to empower athletes, teams, and organizations across Toronto, the GTA, and North America with the mental tools to reach their full potential. Certified in Axiology and REBT mindset coaching, he brings a unique blend of expertise to help his clients develop unshakable confidence, overcome limiting beliefs, and achieve peak performance. Join us as we explore his transformative journey from NHL player to mindset coach, the champion mindset strategies that drive success, and the lessons that only experience can teach. Let's welcome our guest, a true mental game coach who's dedicated to helping others unlock their champion mindset. Welcome to the podcast, Adam Bennett.
Thank you very much for having me. That's quite the introduction.
Yep.
That's a mouthful in itself. Well done.
Yeah, a little bit of a mouthful. You've just done so many amazing things.
Like I said, 30 years, you pack a lot in there. So that was very good.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here, by the way. So thank you.
Welcome. Of course. How's your day been so far?
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Every day I have a must-do list, right? So this is something that I teach with my private clients is you wake up with purpose, right? You wake up with a focus on productivity for the day that's going to move you towards your goals. And we'll talk about this probably in more specific terms later, but yeah, productive morning. Yeah. So no complaints.
Good. Good. Are you like a coffee drinker? Do you go for a walk in the morning?
Well, first thing is I put the sports center on so I can get caught up in all the sports activities.
There you go.
Then, yeah, so as I have my coffee, then it's a workout. So 4 days a week, I'll work out for about an hour and then have my coffee. And then before getting together with you, it being noon right now, I was able to get a couple of things off my must-do list accomplished. So I feel productive. And I have more calls this afternoon and things I have to get done. But I'm glad that we could get this in today.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for coming on. We're so excited to talk to you. We've talked to so many different coaches and athletes and kind of going, behind the curtain a little bit. We all have mindset that we need to improve on, right? And in our daily lives to tweak because, life is tough. Sports are hard, careers are hard, and I'm really excited to give, our listeners, our watchers, maybe some takeaways today where they can implement them, in their own life. Absolutely. But we'll start off, we'll start off slow. We'll start off slow.
So we'll break into it. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So I do want to learn a little bit about you. As a hockey professional. I played hockey when I was a kid and it impacted my life in a big way. And so I just wanted to know what the role of hockey played in your life, and how it got to where you are today.
I think I can honestly say hockey's been my life. I started skating on outdoor ponds when I was younger. My mom and dad both played. Even my grandmother played, catalogs as shin guards back in the day.
Oh my.
I played I just played in my hometown. It was a small town of Georgetown. And we never, it was only a AA center. Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I had advanced in AAA hockey, was, playing against the best kids in the GTA or anything. I stayed close to home. I played with my friends. I always kept the fun of it. And that was one thing that my parents always encouraged, was just go out and have fun with it. Like no pressure, just go and play. And what happened was, over time, I think I just started to excel in certain areas. Certainly I was a growth spurt helped make me stand out from the rest of the crowd. But there came a point where I kind of thought, okay, this might be fun to do for a living, And so if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. That's a saying that we're all familiar with. I've just always kept sports as the industry that I wanted to be in. And if I couldn't be the athlete, well, then I've played many roles in other areas, but always stayed in the sports industry predominantly.
Yeah. No, I love that. Do what you love, and it doesn't feel like work, right? If we can
Correct.
all,
Yeah. So now I'm giving back. Yeah, I've learned a lot in my 30 years in the sports industry. I've been in the trenches, right? Going out in front of big crowds to play. I understand the nerves that athletes are having, but also not just when the spotlight is on, but how you perform when it's just yourself, when you have to train by yourself, when you have to motivate yourself, when you have to push yourself through barriers, but it's just you and you alone. And a lot of the time that athletes are building their careers is done in solitude. What the fans see, what everybody else sees, is the accumulation of all the work they've done behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And so we're very critical when we see them making mistakes, during the game and everything. But man, they've put in thousands and thousands of hours just to get to that point. These are the elite athletes. When we're dealing at the NHL level, these are the elite. And so I think even when they mistakes, it should resonate with the younger kids to say, you know what, it's okay to make mistakes because my heroes are making mistakes. That's okay. Not to put the pressure on the young kids that they need to be perfect.
Yes, no, there definitely is a lot of pressure, and I even felt it when I was playing rep hockey. So much pressure from not only the coaches but the parents are just like really rough. Like not your parents, the other parents.
They were around. My dad used to stand in the corner away from the other parents. Right, so he would separate himself because there's that nucleus, as you're saying, very boisterous. Very expressive, and sometimes the kids feel it. He would stand away from everybody else, and I sort of follow in that tradition with my son playing. I kind of separate myself from the rest. If there is a loud area, I prefer to get a little bit of solitude away and just watch as a fan, just inspired. I love that he's playing. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
everything else will just be a bonus.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. I love that you said that, because there is so much that goes into training as an athlete and figuring out your talents and your position and your skill set, right? So yeah, we do have to remember that these athletes are working, training, hours and hours a day to get there. So how has mindset, like when you were, in the NHL, how was mindset considered? Did you consider your mindset? Were you, taking time for yourself? What kind of processes came out of that? Or was it something like that afterwards that you were like, I didn't have that. I'm going to give back to those athletes because this is what they should have had, and this is what can support them.
We've come a long way since my time in the NHL, but we still haven't reached anywhere near the finish line of what we should do with mental health and athletes. The reason I'm doing what I'm doing, the reason I got into mindset originally, was my experience in Chicago. I suffered tremendously from the pressure. I suffered tremendously from a difficult coach in how he communicated with me. I did not have the mental strength to perform at that level. I thought I did. I mean, it was a smooth ride for the most part to get to the NHL. It was a fast, express train for me. But what happened was I hit a wall. And as much as I was able to perform, physically, what blocked me was mental strength, or my lack thereof. And I ended up in a situation where I just didn't want to play anymore. Right? I had suffered long enough. I was, had lost all confidence. Got to the point where I didn't even want to go on the ice. I was scared to touch the puck. So I couldn't play. I mean, 6'4", 215 pounds, but words took me down. I mean, that's really the power of mindset. If you don't have it, fortunately, you don't go through the issues that I had as severe.
Right. Yes.
But everybody to a degree is going to battle with mental strength, mindset.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I took a little time out away from the team. I needed a break. It was during the season. I succumbed to the pressure. I just wanted to quit. And I was probably 21. I mean, really young in a career, just starting out basically. But I understood that when I got in that situation, it wasn't what I had imagined, and the pressure was too high. So I took a little break, came back to the team. They got me with a sports psychologist, which was great. Not really common back in the day, but it was one of the things that upon my return, I really needed to work on. But the problem with the sports psychology back then, I don't know if it's the same today, but I wanted quick change. I needed quick change. I couldn't be with a therapist for a year or two or longer trying to work out my issues. I needed quick change right away.
Instant.
I need instant, almost like give me a pill, like give me something.
Yeah.
As an athlete, just fix me up, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. Get
me into that mindset so that I can perform. And it didn't happen with the sports psychologist. I picked up quickly that this was just going to take too long, and I was impatient. So I got into mindset training. This is where a guy like a Tony Robbins came. Back in the day, he was all over TV, infomercials.
Right.
And late at night, and I was by myself in the hotel room, and here comes a Tony Robbins infomercial, and I'm like, let's go. Let's do it. And I bought the books, I bought the CDs, I just started to absorb as much as I could, and then implement these, what I call tools. And that's what I teach today, is tools. Like, you can't make change if you don't know how to do it. Like, what tool to use in what situation, what practices to put in. And so I started with these tools, Tony Robbins tools, and I just kept feeding my mind all this. And then a transformation happened, like I would say almost overnight, where I started to really feel the power of mindset, really started to boost my confidence, believe in myself again, started having fun with the game again. Like it was like a cloud had lifted from above me. And I was like, okay, it's not as bad as we make it out to be. Our minds are brutal. They will beat us up.
It's true. We're our worst enemy.
we are our worst enemy. We're very good. We are very good at picking up negative signals from other people. So if a teammate is down or a friend is suffering, we are very good at picking up those signals. And we are very good at consoling those people and offering encouragement and, putting our arm around them, saying it's going to be okay. We're very good when it's somebody else. But with ourselves, boy, we beat ourselves up. And I say this to my clients all the time, is like, if you see a teammate suffering, what do you say to them? And they'll go, well, I'd go over and say, it's okay, we'll get them next time, just keep working. And I say, well, when's the last time you did that to yourself? And then there's a long pause. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the last time I spoke to myself that way, to encourage myself. And this is mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, this is recognizing when we are punishing ourselves, but then doing something about it. It's not that elite athletes don't suffer from negative thoughts or a lack of confidence. They do.
Oh yeah, everybody.
Except they don't stay there very long.
Yeah, bounce back.
The difference is they're able to recognize it quickly and make a shift. So that's what I teach. What we're dealing with, what everybody deals with, it's normal, it's natural. We are wired that way. Our brain is a survival tool. It will always alert us to what's wrong, or if there's a mistake or something out of place, it will alert us. And then we start having these negative thoughts. We start beating ourselves up. So what I want people to be aware of, if they are suffering in any way, it's normal. The difference is you don't have to stay there. You can choose something different. And when you do that, a light bulb goes on and says, now I'm in control again. Now I'm controlling the mind instead of the mind controlling me. It's very powerful.
I love it. I just listened to a podcast yesterday about, visualization and, visualizing your best self and those kind of things.
Right.
And yes, this is kind of like tying into, I'm just like in my head, I'm just thinking about, oh yeah, this makes kind of like so much sense with mindset and just visualizing. And they also talked about bounce rate, right? There's that bounce rate that we have, like, if something bad happens, is it going to take you an hour to, bounce back? Is it going to take you weeks and months? Right. So that's very interesting to me, because I'm just like, okay, so like, if we don't get a client, is it going to take me an hour to get over it, or how long? Right. Because that bounce rate is really important to your mental health. Right. So that was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a hockey player and you made a mistake, you literally have 1 minute or 2 minutes because your next shift is coming in. That bounce back rate, I don't have an hour. That was me with the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't have an hour. Like, I want bounce back now.
Yeah.
Whatever's happened is in the past. That, I know we recognize that, but very often we live in the past. Our thoughts always go back to what could have been, should have been, what I would have done differently. And we start to feel bad about it. This is regret, where I wished something different had happened. Okay, let it go, because we got more important things to do. So mindset is about taking your mind from where it wants to go, which could be regret from the past, and we feel those emotions, or it could be worry about what's in the future, the outcome of the game, or potential mistakes I might make. The brain is always going to want to go from past to present, or past to future, very quickly.
Yeah,
it's our job to keep it in the present. That's where mindset is like, okay, how do I get focused here so that I can perform? And you're talking about visualization, which is a very powerful tool. I teach imagery.
Okay, yeah.
Which is, I best describe imagery as, have you ever had a dream that you thought was real? And most people say, I experienced that. And I would say that was imagery. Because it was sort of like a virtual reality creation. You felt it emotionally. If it was a nightmare, your heart rate was racing. You might have had the sweats or something, the shakes, or if you had the one where you're falling, and right before you hit the ground, you wake up out of that. That's imagery.
Yeah.
And it's a little more powerful than visualization. Visualization is using sight. Imagery is using all of your senses. The sounds, the tastes, the movement, the flow. The best athletes that do this are the Olympic athletes. Every 4 years they get one shot to get it right.
Yeah.
And so what they will do is they will rehearse through imagery thousands of times before they ever get onto the stage to do it. Right? The bobsled team, they will rehearse every twist and turn down, like physically moving, but just inside their minds. And so they've already done this race thousands of times before they even get onto the course. So imagery is very powerful, because what it'll do is you'll get into a scenario and you'll have that deja vu moment where you're like, I've been here before, I've seen this before. And there's something, the smells will sort of trigger something. And you might hear a song and it'll take you back to a moment in your life. That's the neural connection, the neural pathways that we build through imagery, where a whistle might trigger something in you, or a movement might trigger something in you that brings you confidence. I've been here before, I've done this before, and the brain doesn't know the difference anyway, so why not rehearse some positive experiences?
Yeah. No, our brains are wild. And I think everyone needs to know all of this. Like it's amazing, that you're teaching this, because it's so powerful. Because I mean, everyone gets down on themselves. Everyone needs to figure out how to bounce back, to visualize, to imagery. Those are like tools that everyone needs to use in life to,
Absolutely.
have a better life, right? Everyone wants the best self, their best self, I guess. But it's just, so it's amazing that what you're doing. So you went kind of into it as almost a client yourself, to teach yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you were like, hey, let's take this after your career in the NHL. Is that kind of when you pivoted then, or did you pivot a bit later?
It came later, mostly after or through COVID. I would say this has been the main focus. I mean, I've been a hockey coach, a manager, an owner. I've always had mindset. That's sort of the side thing. Like I knew it was the differentiation or differentiator between the elite and the non-elite. And forgive me, but I just assumed people knew this stuff.
Right.
Like early 20s, I started learning about this, and I constantly read about it and just fed my mind. And I took for granted that I just assumed everybody knew how to do this, but they really don't. So that it really came to the forefront after COVID, because people were lost. Their lives had changed. The world had been disrupted. They didn't know how to handle it. And so coming out of that was the idea that, this is needed even more in this situation. And it's just sort of taken off for me. So, where one door closed, because I was actually in Florida running a hockey academy, and we had to shut our doors. We had international players. And when borders were closing, we had to get everybody out as quickly as we could.
Right.
And well, then how do you overcome that? What's next? And the demand for mindset had increased dramatically. And so I just said, well, if people don't know this, which, I took for granted maybe they did, if they don't know this, well, then I need to get out and start sharing what I know, share my knowledge, share my experiences. Because when people see me, like I said, I'm 6'4", 215 pounds, and you wouldn't know that words could take a guy like me down. Physically, I could handle, mentally, I couldn't. And so it doesn't matter how hard you train in the gym or how many hours you put on the ice or any other sport, okay? Like let's say all sports, or even in your business career, okay? You might be making the calls, sending the emails, but you're not getting the results. And then you feel bad about yourself, like you're not hitting your targets. It's all the same. Everybody has a mindset that we can all build for resilience, because success is, part of success is failure. But we see failure and we take it personally, like we're not good enough, we're not adequate. But it's just part of the process.
Oh yeah.
And
100%.
when I'm teaching teams, what I try to do is we remove the word lose. It's not a win or a loss when we go into a game.
Good.
There's two scenarios and we're going to win either way. It's we either win or we learn, because we're going to bounce back from this experience. We're going to get better from this experience, because if we're learning on the way, then we are making progress, and progress equals happiness. You got to know what you want. This, corporate world, personal, whatever sports, athletics, whatever. You got to know what you want. That's where it starts. And then you make the habits, you put the habits in, and you take action, and you start moving towards your goal. But what happens? The fog enters, and I'll explain the fog.
Oh no.
I call it the fog because when you have your goal, you put it up on your wall or you have it visible or somewhere. Okay, it's easy to see. But then life takes over. And then the fog enters. And what that is the limiting beliefs, the self-doubts, the failures, the negative thinking, the delays, like the fog. It blocks your view of what you want.
Yeah.
But the only way to get through the fog and reach your goal is to just keep moving, keep learning. And you may have to make some adjustments along the way. But as long as I believe that my goal is beyond the fog, if I still believe it's there, I can still pursue. And eventually the fog will lift and then we've reached our destination. But it's the fog that stops everybody. It's
true.
I should trademark that.
Trademark the fog.
Yeah. The fog is what stops everybody. It's the fog. Everybody, true. We get excited. We have a goal. We get excited. We're motivated. We're anxious to go. But what happens over time? The fog enters.
The fog comes.
We don't see results fast enough. Yeah, we're putting in all this work, and it's and I haven't hit my destination. But what we forget is how far we've come. We've made progress. You're not where you started.
Yeah.
But we see the fog and we just kind of give up hope, like it's never going to happen. And so then what we do is we make a new goal and we get all excited again. It's kind of like Christmas morning, right? Like we get all excited, we open all these presents, and it's like, okay, well, now what kind of thing? What's next?
We got to stay on track.
Yeah. we need
keep
purpose.
Going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I started this conversation is we need purpose.
Yeah.
So if people feel stuck, if they feel unmotivated, it's probably because they don't have a goal that inspires them. They don't have a passion. And if you're making progress towards anything that you want to achieve, you will feel better about yourself. It doesn't have to be a financial reward. It could be, could be anything that you want. But if you're making progress towards that goal, you're going to feel so much better about yourself. So that's why I make a must-do list.
Yeah.
These are things that are going to move me towards my goal. The goal is I play the long game. Right? Everybody has to play the long game.
It's a long game.
Everybody has to play the long game. Keep your long-term goal in mind, but you work on the process. You take the little steps day by day, and never forget how far you've come.
I love that, and it's enjoy the journey. A similar one. Enjoy the process.
Absolutely.
Because I think we're impatient. We want it to be, like you said before, you want it to be an instant, give me that pill, let's go, kind of feeling, but it's not. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time.
But if you celebrate the small wins, you're going to feel better about it. Like sometimes you hit a milestone, but you don't really recognize it because you're like, well, I still have, miles to go. Oh,
so
hang on a second.
How do you recognize your wins? What do you do?
How do I recognize them? I celebrate them. I post it. Like if I hit a number of followers on something, or if a video gets a number of whatever, I celebrate it. I feel good about myself. I give myself credit. When I work out and I don't feel like working out, which is a lot of mornings, I don't feel like working out, but I've just made it a pattern. Like I don't even think about it. It's like, if it's, a Tuesday morning, well, that's an upper body workout. And I just go, I don't think about it. I just go and do it. While I'm there, I'm not always inspired to work out, but that's when I start talking to myself. Give myself I've got this, I'm here, let's do this. And when it's done, I give myself a pat on the back and says, you did it, good job. Like, I try and be my own best friend, in those moments, because if you're not going to celebrate them, then who will?
Yeah, no, I think self-talk is really important. I don't think a lot of us do it because they're like, oh no, it's kind of weird. But I think it's really important.
Well, we're always self-talking.
Yeah.
We are always self-talking. But let me give you a stat.
Okay.
On a daily basis, on average, you're going to have about 60,000 thoughts a day. Okay, on average, or 2,500 thoughts per hour. You don't initiate these mostly. 80% of those 60,000 are going to be negative. So you're going to have 48,000 negative thoughts per day.
Oh my goodness.
And 95% of those thoughts you're going to repeat over and over. This is where depression comes in. This is where anxiety comes in, is because we are repeating negative thoughts to ourselves over and over. That's on average. So some people are higher and others are less, of course, but on average, 60,000 thoughts, 80% negative, 95% you're going to repeat. So unless I force myself to initiate some positive conversation, what I'm going to hear is, you're tired, you should go back to bed, you shouldn't get up today, you should take the day off and not work out, you'll feel better. Like this is what will come in if I don't initiate something positive. We are just wired that way. We're human. And unfortunately, that's just the way we are wired. So we have to initiate positivity more often if we want to feel better. It's a simple process, but the reason we don't do it is because 95% of our day, we operate subconsciously. So only 5% of the time are you consciously aware of what you're doing, what you're saying. Like, that's mind-boggling. Like 95%, we operate subconsciously. We have habits and routines. We just subconsciously do. We drive to work, and many times you might get to work and you'll forget the whole ride because we're operating subconsciously.
True. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. So this is how our day is. Most of our days are subconscious. However, what mindset does is we are going to build more consciousness into our day. We're going to be aware of our thoughts and our feelings. We are going to initiate positivity. We are going to have a plan for the day. We're going to control our focus so that we're making progress. If I can do these things, I'm going to have more better days.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to feel better more of the time. This is what mindset does, so that you can bring it into those situations where you feel uncomfortable, but you've got it because you're coaching yourself through it. Many of us we all get into uncomfortable situations, but mindset is the belief that I can handle anything that comes up. It doesn't matter what comes. I know I can handle it. And that's what mindset does. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really great. It's crazy. 95%. My goodness. I'm gonna have to just stop myself in the day and be like, you're doing amazing. Keep going.
Why not? Why not?
That's what I'm gonna do.
I mean, if you see my place, I have mantras all over the walls. So, I got little sticky notes. Okay. Yes. And so I'll write a mantra, and maybe I'm weird. Okay. But I would rather feel better than what I've dealt with in the past.
Yeah.
Okay? Depression was real. Mental health issues was real. And I've had these, I'm not going to say for 30 years, it's all been rosy. I mean, there's been a period, and I would say, a large chunk of my life was dealing with mental health issues. Even though I knew better, it still affects people. And so the reason it happened was that 95% subconscious. I chose not to deal with it directly. It was easier not to fight it, because you're tired, you're down, you're depleted of energy. It was just easier not to deal with it. But I was in a state for so long that, when you hit rock bottom and you got no place to go but up, and then for me it was a launching pad. For me it was, I need to do something. Everybody gets to that moment at some point, right? Maybe it's weight loss, or maybe it's financial, or whatever. At some point, the pain of not doing something becomes greater than the pain of just acceptance. And this is what, if you know how to use pain and pleasure, you're going to be more powerful, because pain and pleasure affect every decision. Every decision you make, and I want people to understand.
Pleasure, okay, yeah.
It's only two things. It's pain and pleasure. Okay, what to eat is pain and pleasure. Working out. I'll give you an example. Working out. Some people see working out as pain.
Right.
And so we're going to avoid that. I don't want to do that. I don't want, whatever. Some people see working out as pleasure, because the pain of not working out is worse. So if you understand pain and pleasure, you're going to have better choices come up. You're like, if I'm consciously aware of why I'm making the choices I'm making, it all comes down to pain and pleasure. Like, why are you avoiding certain things? It's to avoid the pain. Why are you making other choices? It's for pleasure. And so, I teach my clients that when they're making choices, is this a pain point or a pleasure point? And then what's beyond? Because here's the thing. In order to reach any goal, you're going to have to go through pain. Any goal. There's
painful.
Choose your pain. You can either put it off, right? But it'll still be there. But if I get through it, the pleasure will be on the other side of pain.
Right.
Whether it's working out, whether it's, a diet that I'm having, or, anything in life, business decisions I got to make. Are these pain points or pleasure points? And if I can manage those, I'm going to be more successful. At least be aware of why you're making the choices you're making.
Right. And if they're pain, just trying to see past that pain, or
it's what pleasure would I get by taking the action?
Right.
Right, because we're focused on the pain. Remember, our initial response is the brain is going to want to block us because it sees pain. Right? Well, anytime you get outside your comfort zone, the brain picks it up as pain. So what I need to do is focus on what pleasure will I get by taking this action now, or not taking this action.
Because after you work out, you're going to feel good and energized, right?
Right. Or it's the pain of regret of not working out.
That's right.
That's why we make the decisions that we do. So again, it comes down to awareness. If we can get more people, like I said, 5% we're operating consciously. Okay, so 95% of our time, our subconscious is making the choices, and the brain will always want to stay comfortable. That's why it resists. When we get up in the morning, the alarm clock goes off, and our first reaction is 15 more minutes. Just let me sleep a little bit longer. It's a rough night. I got a long day. Like, this is how we start our day.
Yeah.
But what's the pain of not getting up right now? What pleasure could I get if I just start getting up and start moving right now? Like, and tackle them. That's why I got my must-do list is like, I got things I got to get done today. I'm going to feel pleasure at the end of the day by accomplishing everything off my list, and I'll feel good at the end of the day. So that's what gets me up and moving.
Pain and pleasure. Okay.
Pain and pleasure.
Okay, there we go.
That's it. It's simplified. Don't overcomplicate things. Every decision is a pain and pleasure point.
Oh my goodness. You're so full of knowledge, Adam. Oh my goodness. I guess what I wanted to know too is, you're working with, athletes, or you're working with, coaches or corporations. Do you have like a common mindset challenges that kind of come across when you are working with those groups? Or are they different, or are they similar? That's kind of a loaded question, but
right. Well, actually, everything is similar. Like, whether you're an athlete, you're just in a different industry. If you're a salesperson, you're in a different industry, but the challenges are the same, right? It's never about the competition, right? In athletics, it's never about the competition. It's always about me, whether I can show up. Right? So it has nothing to do with anybody else's, can I show up and do my best? Right? And on a daily basis, your best is, highs and, whatever your best is. You're not always at 100%. Athletes are almost never at 100% physically. They're always dealing with some injury or tiredness or travel or whatever. You're never at 100%, but it's about being able to rise to whatever your best is on that day.
Right.
And so the challenge in the corporate world would be the same. How can I get myself into peak performance even when I don't feel like it? That's mindset. And it basically comes down to four things. And this translates into all industries. It doesn't matter what. There's four pillars of success. First one is you got to know what you want. Okay. It sounds like a simple question, and it is to ask. But if you talk to people and say, well, what do you want? And they're not very clear on what they want. They want more money. Well, what does that mean? Is that $10 more to $100, $1,000, $100,000? Like, you have to get very clear on what you want.
Right.
Because that's your North Star. Yeah, you gotta know what you want. Then number two is you put the habits and procedures in. Okay, so now I make a plan. So I know what I want. I'm very clear on it. Okay, it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound. I've hit all those targets. Okay, I know what I want. Now it's time to map it out. Like, how am I going to do this? And there's various ways I work with people to identify how we're going to do this, right? It's, a step-by-step process, but don't overthink it, just get going. Action breeds confidence. Action breeds results. Action, even if it's the wrong action, it's still a learning experience. So just start, just go. And then as you're going, adjust along the way. You find out what's working, what's not working. You maybe get pulled in different directions, or you learn something new, but you adjust along the way as you're taking action. So it's always about reevaluating, checking in with yourself. Is this working? Is it not working? What can I improve? So you got to be tracking, your stats and all that other stuff.
Right.
The final pillar, and the most important, is just perseverance. Success very often is just hanging on when other people let go.
Right.
Because, and I said, the reason people let go is the fog has entered. They start to lose the belief that it's going to happen. They start to lose the belief that they can achieve this. Okay, maybe my goal was too big, or maybe that was for somebody else. Those people get those rewards, not me. Like these limiting beliefs, or I've tried everything. And you say you tried everything. If you did, you'd still be going, right? You'd still be making progress. But the reason that some people are successful is just because there was no quit. It was just perseverance, determination.
Right.
Grit is the number one predictor of success. It's not talent.
Right.
Right? It's not always the most talented that rise to the top. We see that regularly. It's the people that just persevere whenever others let go. So if you can hang on, right, and like keep these four pillars always in mind. What do you want? How am I going to get it? What changes do I need to make along the way? And then grind it out. If you just follow that process, you're going to be more successful. Doesn't matter the industry, whatever role you have, but you got to know what you want. And it's surprising how many people you probably had, you went, I'm not sure. If you went to a university or college? I did.
Yes.
Okay. But how many people are in university and colleges and they still don't know what the heck they want? They're there because it's right. They're there because it's expected. Right? They're living somebody else's dream, right? So it's just expected that you go to university, and we'll figure it out along the way. But along the way, what happens is you get pulled in different directions, and you end up somewhere that you really didn't mean to go. You end up in a job you don't like, a situation that you don't like, and then you're living with it for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Instead, if they just started with what do I want?
Yeah.
And then how am I going to get there? The decisions get easier. Life gets easier when you know what you want. Yeah, because the decisions either align with my goals or they don't. So I'm not going to get pulled in different directions. I'm going to be very clear. I know how I'm going to get there. I'm going to follow the process, right? There's step by step. And, one example of how, the process, if you wanted to learn how to bake a cake, Go see the
Always.
baker. Go see the baker. He's got a beautiful cake in the window.
Yeah, go see the
Walk
expert.
into the bakery. And he said, I would love to bake that cake. Now, I'm not a baker, but I know if I follow the recipe that the baker has, and if he's willing to give it to me. So a mentor, if you can find a mentor, somebody that's already doing what you want to do, somebody that you can look up to and aspire to. If you follow the recipe, the baker gives you the recipe. If you follow it, you're going to make a cake. Maybe not exactly the same.
Yes.
And maybe you're going to have to tweak it, and that's okay. But there is a recipe for almost everything out there. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's in athletics, follow the recipe. If it's in sales, follow the recipe.
Yeah.
And find a mentor that can teach you and coach you to go through the process. They've been there before. I've been there before. I've been through the process to the NHL. It is not easy.
No, it's hard.
How many athletes I talk to, and they go, why do you want to play in the NHL? Oh, because it'll be fun.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, yeah, it is fun, but what they're not seeing is what's not in the spotlight, what we talked about earlier. The thousands of hours spent by yourself, pushing yourself, even when you don't feel like it. And that's the fog. If you can push through the fog on your own, then you will see the light at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But there is a process. If you can follow the 4 pillars of success, know what you want, map it out, keep adjusting as you go, and then grind it out. Never quit. You'll be successful.
Woo. There we go.
There you have it.
Never quit. Have the grit. Know what you want.
Yes.
You'll be successful. See,
well,
now you should go
the only way the only way you fail is when you quit. That's it.
That's true. I totally get that fog though, because like I've been at that time in my life where I'm just like, there's so much fog. I'm like, okay, like, is it going to clear soon? Like, you're just being patient. You're being patient, and you're just waiting, right? So I am totally been there, and it makes a lot of sense, right? And
I think I'm going to patent that. I should patent that, because I don't think I've seen anybody else talk about it in such ways. I mean, they talk about it as limiting beliefs and self-doubts, the fears of the unknown. Okay, we get all that. But for me, a visual is the fog, because it blocks your view of what you really want. It's kind of like, on a cloudy day, people get bummed. They're like, oh, it's cloudy, and da, da, da. But if I recall, like, the sun is still up there. It's beyond the clouds.
Oh, you're so positive. See, that's so optimistic.
Well, and at some point, the clouds will lift.
Yeah.
So my job is to keep pushing even on cloudy days, because the sun is still up there. I don't see it, but I believe it's still there.
That happened today. I don't know where.
Okay.
If it happened, are you in Toronto right now?
I'm actually down Fort Erie way, just as Crystal Beach area.
Nice. Yeah. So today this happened. It was pouring rain all morning, and I saw a beautiful rainbow actually this morning. It was beautiful. It was like two of them in one.
Nice.
And now it's sunny outside.
Now
so
it's
there
sunny.
you go.
The sun will always reappear. Yeah, you just have to keep going even through the clouds.
Yeah, no, it's very true. So you talked about the 4 pillars. Those are the same. I'm sure that you talk about in your course. It's like focus, motivation, confidence, and consistency.
Yeah, I do a whole subject just on the 4 pillars of success. Basically, what I did was, in 30 years of mindset, I broke it down to 4 pillars. What makes somebody successful? We all believe that some people are lucky, or they advantaged or whatever. Yeah, sure. Not everybody. I mean, some people are lucky, some people are advantaged. Not everybody. So what are the 4 things that all successful people have in common? And so I put it into the 4 pillars of success. So basically, it's beliefs and values, like belief in yourself, belief in what I can achieve. It starts with that. Like, what do I want? What do I believe I can achieve? And you'd be amazed at how many people just don't have a belief in themselves. That's for somebody else, right? That, to make $1 million. Well, that's unrealistic for me. They don't have the belief. So if you don't have the belief, you're not going to be inspired to do anything. Like, you won't even leave the house, because why bother? Right? I'm not going to be successful, so why bother? It's starting with the belief. Have the self-belief that you can achieve something. And what is it? Get very clear on it. Yeah. And then it's habits and standards. So now we map it out. What are the habits, the recipe that's going to move me in the direction that I have?
Right.
And in order to achieve, you have to raise your standards. You can't. Let me give you an example. Let's say you and a friend agree to meet up. Okay. You set a time, like we did, okay?
Perfect.
Tuesday at noon. Do you agree? Yeah. Do you agree? Yes, yes,
sure,
yes.
Yes.
And we both show up. But when it's just you, how often do you show up for yourself?
Right. Yes.
That's raising the standards that say, I'm going to show up regardless, whether I feel like it. Maybe I'm tired, got other things on my mind or whatever. No. You still have to show up. You still have to do the process. And that's where my must-do list comes in. It's like, okay, regardless of how you feel, these have to get done. And so this is where discipline kicks in.
Oh, yeah.
Motivation gets you going. You're excited.
Yeah.
Discipline keeps you going. Discipline doesn't care about your emotions. It doesn't care how you're feeling. It doesn't care that you had a rough night's sleep. It doesn't care that you're under the weather. It does not care. Discipline says, I have to do these anyways, because I'm showing up for me. I agreed. I set my standards. And if I can follow through on what I say I'm going to do, that is raising your standards. Right? That is being disciplined. That is far more valuable than motivation. Motivation gets you excited. We've talked about that. Like, yeah, we're all, we get.
Yeah.
And then once the fog comes in, that's where discipline takes over. Then the third one is the growth mindset. The growth mindset allows for failure. It's a learning process. The growth mindset accepts that you're not perfect. You're learning. I'm 53 years old and I still say I'm a work in progress. I accept that I make mistakes. I own my mistakes. If I mess up, it's on me. So the growth mindset is, I know I'm not perfect, but I'm learning and I will adjust as I go. Okay, so as I'm making my way through the forest, I'm going to have to move around the trees in order to get to the other side of the forest. That's just the way it goes. And then the grit. The grit is perseverance. It's hanging on and fighting the fog every day, because the fog is going to want you to stop. The fog is going to challenge you every day that says you're not good enough. You'll never achieve this. You haven't hit your goals. You never will. Right? You're like all of these negative things. That's where grit comes in. Grit is fighting the fog every single day until you reach the goals. And when you lose the belief, where we started, when you start to really believe the fog, that's when everything blows up.
Right. And that's what people give up, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't matter the industry. Pick any industry where you're trying to, advance and grow or just be successful in whatever success means to you.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has a different level of success. That's why we have to clearly identify what is success. What's the goal? Everybody has a different version of success. Okay. Once we identified that, how are we going to do it? But then hang on, fight off the resistance that the brain is going to give you, that fog. Just keep pushing through, because eventually you'll be able to break the fog, break through and see your goals. You will have reached your destination. But a lot of people just give up at that moment. Why? Because it's easier just to go back into your comfort zone.
Yeah, 100%.
It's more comfortable to just stay where I am than try and venture to gain more. And that's the pain and pleasure. Pain and pleasure. Exactly. We come back to that. It's about pain and pleasure. Every day you have to get outside of your comfort zone in order to achieve something. At least anything worthwhile. Right?
Do something uncomfortable every day. Someone said that. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, no, but it's true. You have to. Yeah. Do something every day that's a little uncomfortable, because what happens is that becomes your comfort zone. If I'm consistently doing something uncomfortable, well, then now I'm used to it. Okay. And now I can challenge myself a little bit more. So you're absolutely right. You have to do something uncomfortable in order to achieve anything.
Little steps.
Success is not Amazon. They're not going to deliver it to your door. You have to go out and get it. You have to fight off everybody else that wants the same thing.
That's right.
Especially in sports, right? I don't think the odds of making it are slim, but they're not zero.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody has to take those jobs.
You can be that small percent. Let's go, right?
I mean, look at me. I was a AA player out of Georgetown, population, I don't know, 20,000, like tiny town. And I got to the NHL. Probably because I didn't know the odds. I didn't even think about the odds.
That's good. You were like, oh, that didn't cross my mind.
Right. Well, because what happens is people make a plan B and a plan C. You know, if this doesn't work out, well, then I'll do this and this and this. But the problem with that is you give yourself off ramps. Right. And when the fog kicks in, you're more likely to take off ramps just to get away from the pain than if you had just said, you know, what's the line? It's burn the boats. Have you heard that one before?
Burn the boats. No, I've never
Burn the boats. If you want to take the island, burn the boats.
Oh.
Don't give yourself another option to get back on and go back.
No airplane.
I was listening to the story the other day. It was about a battle. It was I wish I should write this down so I remember it, but it was, you know, a commander had taken his ships. There were 600 men and they had to take the island, but they were greatly overmatched, like completely outmatched. But he ordered the people to burn the boats, like destroy them. We're either taking this island or we're dying, kind of thing. But that was their only choice. Their only choice was survival. We're going to take this island one way or another. And that's the same with reaching any goal, is if you have option B and C, and, you know, everybody, you know, this is where parents like, you know, oh, Johnny, you know, make sure you have plan B or whatever. What you're doing is you're, you know, subconsciously, you're giving him an out. You're going to make, at some point, he's going to want to feel comfortable. That's why option B and C look nice, is because they're comfortable. I could keep pushing for what I want, but, you know, this option B looks very nice. And on the days where the fog is its thickest, that's where you're going to go for option B and C. So in order to be truly successful, burn the boats.
Burn the boats.
Burn the boats. You have
be
no
uncomfortable.
You have no other option but to survive. You'll find a way. That's the coolest thing, is if you have no other choice, you will find a way.
I will swim to that island.
Somehow, right. You will find a way.
You'll find a way.
In.
That's right.
There's no other option.
I love it. I feel very empowered right now. It's good.
Okay, good. Well, all right, I'll send you a bill.
Okay. So I mean, another thing is, like, if you were going to talk to someone today, whether it be an athlete, an entrepreneur, whoever, I mean, what would you say, of course, without taking your course, or take his course, because it's probably amazing, and you'll learn amazing mindset skills that will help you be successful. But just right now, is there something like you can do right now? Like, should we write something down? Make sure we know what we want. Make sure we have those beliefs in us. Is there something like very vital that can change us right now?
One word: gratitude.
Gratitude.
If you want to shift your mindset, like, practice gratitude.
Gratitude.
We very often neglect all the good things, the positive things that are happening in our life. As I said, our brain's a survival tool. It always looks for what's wrong. So if you're looking for what's wrong, you're going to find it. But if you're looking for what's right, you're going to find a lot of that too. So even in your worst moments, when you're at your lowest or you're feeling down, if you can practice gratitude in the moment, you're going to instantly feel better about yourself. And that's one thing that I get my clients, my private clients, to do, is every day is you're going to practice gratitude. Give thanks for all the little things that you neglect. You don't even, you don't notice because we're not wired that way. So I would say if people want to do something right now to feel better, close your eyes, give thanks, and appreciate everything that you have right now. Because there are people that would love to be in your position, and you're taking it for granted.
It's true. Yeah, we don't realize how much we have, right?
Until you take inventory. Yeah, until you take inventory. I mean, we just assume, as I did, like, okay, everybody has mindset. No, they don't. Okay, so, everybody has, has clean clothes. No, they don't. Everybody has a bed to sleep in. No, they don't. Everybody has a roof overhead. No, they don't.
Yeah.
Right. So appreciate what we have, whatever it is. Right. Give thanks. You're going to feel better about yourself right away.
It reminds me of the comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy or something like that.
It is.
That's kind of because I think we focus so much on what we don't have. We look at other people and we think, oh wow, like I wish I was that successful. I wish I had that. I think that is such a huge thing with gratitude, even, right? If we're grateful for what we have, we don't look at others the same and think, I wish I was her, right? Or I wish I was him.
No, give thanks. And that thing about comparison is people are jealous of what other people have, but they're not jealous of what it took to get it.
Right. It's
so keep that in mind too. Yeah. Are you prepared to sacrifice like those people did, to put in the work that they did, to do what they did, to follow the recipe? Yeah. Are you prepared to do that? If you are, then you will get what those people have. Yeah. But most people are jealous, but not jealous of the work that it took to get there.
That's true. They don't see the behind the scenes.
Correct. Yeah. We see what's in the spotlight and we go, that's what I want. And then you say, well, here's how you do it. And here's the bill. Well, I'm not ready to pay the price, right? Yeah. I'm not going to, I'll only sacrifice so much, but they're missing that, the entire bill has to be paid. And payments due every day. That's what people miss out on. And that's why they fall back in their comfort zones. That's why they keep ending up where they end up, is because they don't change anything, or they do it temporarily, but then they go back to their old ways. And that's why they keep getting the same results over and over. If you want different results, you need to do different things. Consciously we know this. Yeah. Yet when it gets difficult, we go back. When the pain, the fog kicks in, we fall back into our old ways because we're comfortable. And we kind of get in that mode. Well, that's just me. That's just how it is. That's life. That's how they identify. If they don't see themselves as something more, then they'll never achieve anything more.
If you're comfortable right now, go somewhere else. If you're comfortable, change something.
Well, or if you're comfortable and you're happy, great.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, everybody's idea of success is different. Some people's success is money, right? Lots of money. Some is fame. Some is time with family. Quiet time, peace, right? So you have to identify, what do you want? What is your idea of success? And then what are you doing every day to move towards that? So if you're comfortable and you're happy and satisfied, great, right? Great. But if you're not, do something about it. Yeah. Make a decision today that I need to change what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'm going to get the same results as I did. If I want to be somewhere new a year from now, I need to do something different than I have in the last year. So I can't keep repeating the same things and expect a different result. I need to I need to act. Right? So what I say is, you create the habits, and then the habits create you. So you need to initiate these things until they become a pattern. Once they become a pattern, well, now they've taken a hold on you. Now my identity shifts based on my patterns. This is who I am now. I'm not that old, that old version of me.
Yeah.
This is who I am based on the habits that I implement that turn into patterns. And that is who I am now. Right.
How long would you say, like, because we fall back into our patterns and it's routine for us, even probably our thoughts are routine for us, right? So how long would you say, working with your clients, how long does it take them to really feel like they've gotten the system down of their mindset and what they should be thinking and doing and envisioning for themselves? How long do you think it really kind of takes to morph into, okay, this is where I'm going in my future. This is the steps I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be thinking. That makes sense?
It does. I mean, what I say to the clients is you will notice something after the first meeting. Like it'll be like an aha moment, okay, where it's like, okay, I need to initiate these things. So that happens in the very first session.
Yeah.
So if they continue to use the tools, because again, it's not natural. We're not wired to always think positively. But if you use the tools on a daily basis, I guarantee you everything changes. Life changes. How you see life. Like, this is important to understand, is that we don't. So if I can change how I think, life changes for me. Where I once saw problems, I now see opportunities. And it has nothing to do with life. It has how I perceive it. My filter changes when I change my mindset. And so in the first meeting, we start on implementing the daily habits that will direct the mind towards the things that I want. And when I'm making progress, this is where, every day I'm doing the little things, I'm going to feel more empowered. And then we start adding the layers to it. Like, how do we get a little bit deeper?
A little bit more, a little bit more.
A little bit more, a little bit more, but we initiate right away. Here's how we make change right away. And it's, by doing these two things. And then we add to it. And we learn why we do what we do.
Interesting.
Like maybe we think we're not normal. Like when we have negative thoughts and we feel bad about ourselves and we're doubting our abilities. Maybe we think that's normal. It is. It is.
Everyone has it, yeah.
Everybody has it. But the decision to stay there now becomes yours. And so we really bring this out in the coaching. But so yeah, I would say initially you're going to feel something right away. You're going to feel powerful.
Yeah.
You're going to institute changes. You're going to force them until they become patterns later. But after that, after the coaching's done, if you continue to implement, you'll be successful at the end.
Amazing. And sports, you work with athletes a lot. What transformations are you seeing with them after they work with you and after they went through this mindset training?
Yeah. Well, see, sports, now we're talking a combination of athletics and mentality. And where I deal with is the mental thing, that you have the belief that you can go through anything. So what I like to see, or what I want to get from my athletes, is consistency. Rather than the ups and downs, and they ride the highs and lows of the season. If we're winning, everything's great. If we're losing, everything sucks. Or I go into a slump, life is miserable. If I'm scoring at a pace, life is great. All that is meaningless. What I look for is consistency in performance. The results will take care of themselves. But I have the belief going in that I can do certain things. I'm not affected by results. I'm not affected by slumps. I'm not affected by referees or the environment or who the opponent is. All of it's meaningless. I am bringing myself to the table as best as I can. And I have the belief that I will be able to do something positive. That's all it is.
I love it because it does get on you. That's amazing, because results is a big thing, especially when you're in sports, right? If you didn't
everybody's focused on results, but we also understand, hey, you're going to lose games you should have won, and you're going to win games you should have lost. We don't think about that, but we're so focused on results. But for the athlete, It has to go with the process. You know, what I say to my teams, you know, like, what's the goal going into a game? Well, we want to win, of course. Okay. Do we control if we win or lose? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't control if you win or lose. Because if you did, then you would just win every game. Like if I control if we win or lose, I'll just choose to win every game. But we don't. So I work my way down to the bottom. What do we control? If it's hockey, we only control the shift, one shift at a time.
One shift. Yeah.
So if I'm focusing on the shift and putting everything I can into my shift, into my effort, the results will take care of themselves. If I'm not doing shift by shift, if I'm not focused there, then we're not going to get the result we want. But the best chance we have is to focus on the shifts, and that will lead us to a more positive result. And again, it's not about wins or losses. Even if we lose, I'm still going to learn something. So I'm gaining something out of it. I didn't really lose because now I'm better for it. You know, I always, I reference a tennis match. You know, if you and I were playing tennis, but you never hit the ball back to me, I'm not going to get any better.
Right.
You know, I hit it over. And, okay, point. I hit point. I'm not getting better. I get better when there's resistance. So if you're able to rally the ball back, well, then I got to hustle and get it back.
Yeah.
I only build strength in the gym with resistance. I need the weight. I need, I need to tear muscle in order to build it. So I get better. When I face resistance. I get better when I face better competition. I may not always win, but I get better.
I love looking at that in shifts. That's a really good mindset because I remember in hockey, you'd be down like, let's say 5 goals, right?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, okay, it's the second period and it's almost done and we're down 5 goals. Your mindset gets lowered, right? And you don't play as well when you're
like, why bother? Yeah, the results are already in.
We're gonna lose anyways, right? So I can remember feeling that way. So I liked that. I liked the shifts. I'm like, why don't we focus on winning each shift?
Let's just win this shift. Yeah.
Winning is just doing the best we can, or performing the best we can in that one shift. So that's I like that.
And then even losing, getting spanked, 5-0 or whatever. If you learn from it, you're better for it. You're better having gone through it. And so it's, the result shouldn't be your identity. If you're on a losing team, and I was on lots of losing teams, okay? So, but I never saw the record as my identity. I'm not a loser.
Right.
The results aren't in me.
Who you are, yeah.
I am still going to be successful. I will learn from this. I will study. We will adjust as we go. We will change things up. The next time that we see this team will be a different team having gone through this. It's not all bad.
Yeah.
And my son's team, they got spanked the first couple of games in the exhibition season. And I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Good.
That'll make them work harder next time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's good they're going through this so that they can learn from it and get better.
Wow.
Because now they know the standard. They know there's a difference in the elite teams and where they are. So there's no misconception that we're the best and we don't have to work hard. No, that's the standard. Now we got to adjust. It's up to us to adjust. Yeah. So getting spanked in a game, good. Yeah. Getting beat up in business, you're going to sound silly, but good.
You're going to learn.
Because I'm going to get better for this so I can adjust and move forward.
Yeah. Amazing.
Play the long game.
Wow. I only have a few more questions, but I am very filled with all of this. It's really amazing. I think everyone should take your course and hear what you have to say and learn, just how to strengthen your own mindset. Like, I think it's so important. I think people should be teaching this in high school.
It should be, yeah. It should absolutely be.
Even as a kid, I think it applies to you so much too, because it's such a hard time, in your adolescent youth, right? So I mean, if we could just train kids young about who they are and what to think.
Correct.
Like you said, we think so many negative thoughts a day. And it's hard. It's hard
Mhm.
definitely being a kid and going to university or
Yeah.
post-secondary school. And man,
And
you
they
might just
should
have
teach two things in school. Two things. A, mindset, but B,
me.
financial literacy. We got to
Oh
teach
yeah.
financial literacy in school.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah. We definitely have
we just
that.
assume everybody knows how to, handle money and finances. Again, school
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily prepare you for real life. Okay.
Yes, that's 100% true. There's so many like things you learn in experience, but I think mindset, like people
Mhm.
don't learn it even when they're an adult, right? So
Right. Yeah.
thank you.
Actually, yeah. Many of my clients are of the adolescent age. Let's
Mhm.
say the teens, right, 13
Yeah,
to 18ish, and it's amazing how many parents say, "Boy, I could really use this too." And
right.
so
Mhm.
I'm kind of known as the athlete guy, and specifically the hockey guy. Although I've worked with many
Mhm.
different sports,
Mhm.
so I starting in the new year, right? We're planning ahead. What do I want? I'll be branching more into worldly, coaching. So for adults that want this, if if an adult could learn what an elite athlete knows,
Mhm.
it's going to help them in their life too. Right? You don't
Right.
have to be an elite athlete to want mindset, to want to feel better
Mhm.
about yourself, to feel inspired,
Yeah.
to have purpose.
Mhm.
Um, Everybody should have this. And so I'm expanding into that market where if you're an executive, cool. If you're a mom, cool. Like any parent that wants to
Mhm.
learn what
Mhm.
it takes to have a champion's mindset so that you can apply it to your own life.
Yeah.
It's about living to your fullest instead of
Mhm.
just doing what is expected.
Yeah.
uh, and because you're not living for you, you're living for other people. When you have
Mhm.
progress, or when you have
Mhm.
purpose, you feel better about yourself, but you need to identify what that's going to be.
I love it. I love it so much. Okay, a few more questions. I didn't realize what time it
Uh,
was. We are just
yeah, quickly
chatterboxes
though, because I have
today.
a call coming up.
Yeah, chatterbox. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I love anything to do with video. So I just have to ask you one question about videos.
Yeah.
So what role does, video storytelling, what does it play, throughout your marketing strategy? Is it part of it?
Oh.
Is it not? Talk about that.
Video. Okay. See, marketing is not my strong point. This is where I could probably use your help. So, if people will go to YouTube, so I
Mhm.
started a channel not too long ago, and so just Adam Bennett coaching on YouTube. They can find inspirational videos that I make. Right?
Oh, yes, I
I'm
did
just I'm
I did
just
listen
that
to a
voice.
few. I
Okay,
did.
I'm just that voice in their in their head that they can listen to
Mhm.
inspire them for the day. Right.
Yeah.
So short little videos that I put out,
Mhm.
3 times a week, just to inspire. Right. Because I
Mhm.
think we all need inspiration.
We
We all
do.
need somebody to
Yeah,
say it's going to be okay.
we do.
Right? We all need
Mhm.
encouragement. And so that's what I use my YouTube channel for predominantly,
Mhm.
is to inspire people, to motivate them.
Mhm.
Just be that morning feed when they're drinking their coffee to say, you know what, today's going to be a great day.
Mhm.
Why? Because
Mhm.
Adam Bennett says so. Right?
And you have such a nice voice, so it's
Oh,
great.
thank you. Yeah, I have a voice for radio. So
You
there you
do,
go.
yeah. And
So
podcasts, yeah.
okay, so that's what I do, is
Mhm.
my channel is for that.
Yeah.
What I'm going to be doing starting in the new year is moving to a subscription based. So maybe
Mhm.
we can broadcast it here. I've not
Mhm.
broadcasted this anywhere, but starting in the
Okay.
new year, be moving to a subscription base because it's
Mhm.
it's expensive
Yeah.
to get a guy like me as a coach. It's
Right.
expensive to
Mhm.
have me on team.
Yeah.
So by going to a subscription, now you're going to get
Mhm.
me live once a
Mhm.
week,
Mhm.
coaching
Oh,
and inspiring and
great.
motivating and
Mhm.
directing. So I want a community of
Mhm.
like-minded people to come together to support each other and get the
Mhm.
information, get the tools. This is what's valuable, is you need to
Yeah.
know what to do. And so I will come in and be coaching live in this membership. And the people can talk to each other and inspire, and they're going to get, newsletters and just feed their mind, because you have to force it. This doesn't come naturally. You have to push the mind in the direction that you want to go. So this is the new thing that I'll be launching in the new year. So I'm building it now. The work's in the background. Remember all this, the work that we do in the background before you see the spotlight on it. Working on it now, but a membership is coming in so that we can all collectively get together and work with each other to build something great.
I love it.
So that's what's coming in the pipeline. A community, yes. And this way, people are going to get the information for much less, like minuscule less than what they pay to get me as the coach.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to affect more people, thousands of people. The only way I can do this is by bringing in a community with a little monthly fee so that everybody's getting the information.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm still going to be there live as we're taping this now. I'm there. They can communicate with me just like we're, one-on-one, but it's in this community. They're going to get that. And it's going to be consistent. Like, again, because you can't just do it and then, not follow up on it. But I need weekly, daily practices that move me, and I'm going to build that community.
That's so exciting.
My goal.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Let me know when it starts. I might want to come into the community and be inspired.
I'll put you on my my newsletter list. I'm actually building the email list now. We'll start broadcasting in the next little while so that people can sign up, and when it launches, we're all going to be in together. This will be fun.
What month are you thinking of launching?
January. It'll be a January launch. Yeah.
Ooh, start of the new year. I like it. Everyone's got
new year, new direction. We always need purpose, right? We always need to reach for the next thing. Like, what is going to keep me moving forward?
Yeah.
And this is what I want to do now is build this community, and so I can share to more people. That's really the goal, is
reach more.
How can I affect more people, reach more? Because I know a barrier is pricing. Right? Not everybody can afford to have a private coach come in and do it. I get it. And so what I want to do is try and minimize the barriers by now, building this little community. You can come in cheap, and get the same information as if we're actually talking live. And
amazing. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm really excited for you. That's exciting. You're going to reach so many people and change so many mindsets.
I hope to. I'm still playing the long game, though. I'm still playing the long game. Yeah, we're going to be
still in the fog.
No. I'm so busy focused on the process to build this thing. I believe it will be successful, but I'm also not naive to think I'm going to hit it out of the park on the first swing. Right. So it's going to take time to build this, but word of mouth and everything else that comes. My whole practice, honestly, has been word of mouth.
One more question before you go, because I know you have to leave.
Yes, I have a call.
One more question is,
sure.
What do you see yourself in 5 years?
Here's how you answer that. If you know the answer to that question, you're thinking too small.
Oh, too small. We shouldn't know that answer because we're supposed to be in the present.
You should you need a North Star. Like you need to have a goal. But if you know exactly where you're going to be in 5 years, you're thinking too small. I picked that up from a podcast off of Eddie Pinero. So I listened to Eddie Pinero. For people that want to feed the mind, because I spend a lot of time in the car, driving to coaching sessions and things like that with my teams. So I always have a podcast on in the car, and it's Eddie Pinero. And he was on a podcast where somebody asked him that question. Now, he didn't answer it because there was another gentleman on the podcast with him. And Eddie was blown away by the answer, because Eddie was trying to think, well, I'll have so many followers on YouTube. I'll have so many people on Instagram. I'll be, here and here and here. That's what he's thinking in his mind. But then the other guy pipes up and says, if you know the answer to that, you're thinking too small. And it's like,
interesting. Yeah. Mind blowing. Yeah.
I know what direction I want to go.
Yeah. Or what
where
goal? What goal? Is there a goal that you want to achieve in a couple of years?
It will. I tell you what, I have my goals written down. They're on a whiteboard where I work out, so I see it every day. Okay, exactly how many followers I want, how many, YouTube, Instagram, income, living accommodations. Like I have it all listed out.
Great.
Okay? Yeah. And so I feed the mind. This is my North Star. This is what I want. Am I ready to adjust if need be? Absolutely. But I hope that I hit all of my targets within 5 years or sooner. So I'll save that for me.
Yeah.
What they are, but I do have it all written down.
You have it. Exactly. I love it.
Yeah. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound.
Imagery. Amazing. Any last words to our listeners and our watchers before we go?
I hope this inspires people. I hope people don't look at mental health issues as a negative. It's simply a choice to either stay where you are or to do something different. Again, if you want different results, you're going to have to do something different in your life. And it's simply a choice of taking action today to change the outcome. If you're not happy with where you are, with what you've got going on, with your current situation, make a choice to do something different. And I hope this inspires people to do it.
And just one more thing quickly, if people want to reach out to you, Adam, where can they find you?
AdamBennett.ca, right, is my website. I'm all over the Instagrams and the YouTubes and the TikToks and everything else like that, so they can look me up. Adam Bennett Coaching or Adam Bennett Mindset Coaching. If they want more information, I strongly encourage people, just follow me. Like, just, get inspired, right? That's my goal, is to inspire you to achieve something. And so, my YouTube, it's small right now, but I know in my head, I am manifesting bigger things. And so let's build a community together.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Adam Bennett. And thank you to everyone out there listening and watching. And we'll see you next time. Bye.